Hi, Sweet Pea.
Hi, Mummy Bear.
We have another chit chat.
We do. This is episode 71.
That's right, 71, and this is Ben Newell from Worcester Terrariums.
Exactly. And you might remember him from, I think it was back in the winter specials
Yep.
when we saw him. And he showed us just a little bite-sized section of how he creates his little terrarium. Some quite big, actually. They can be
Beautiful
all
terrariums.
sizes.
Yep.
But where he really creates a landscape in these glass boxes and using all sorts of things like little ferns, mosses, and then even little figurines that he'll put in there to create a scene.
That's right. And on this episode, we hear a lot more about how to make those and also the variety that you can have. Everything from totally aquatic to boggy to dry desert type terrariums.
And then also creating a terrarium around living beings. So little insects, little gummy frogs, all sorts,
spiders,
walking fish. And I saw he did a video on
really?
that recently. So
I didn't see that one.
I know.
Crikey.
And even becoming friends with a tiny hopping spider. So he really goes for it with all things, but he does not like actual frogs.
He doesn't, and we hear about that in this episode. We also talk quite a bit about how Ben is navigating social media, and so how he is creating a career and income through YouTube, for example, but also TikTok and Instagram. And it's very interesting to hear how he's handling all that.
Exactly.
It is also influencing where he's moving to and plans for his new garden.
Yeah.
And a lot of his dream garden in this episode is based around his new garden, which, fingers crossed, he'll be moving into this September.
Oh, yeah, fingers crossed.
So we recorded this back in May.
We did.
It was a particularly rainy evening.
It was.
Ben was sitting underneath a skylight.
Yes.
So in terms of noises, you will hear some full-on rain in a bit of a section of this, but otherwise it's not too bad.
And he had to go off to football afterwards.
He had to run off to the footy, didn't he?
Wasn't very nice for him after that.
No. And we also talked about a series that Ben did some promo work for.
Yeah, he did.
Created a terrarium around it. And we talked about how the series was based on a book, and it was a book that I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the author.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of her books, but I couldn't for the life of me remember the author's name. So that is Lucy Clark, and her book is The Castaways.
The well-known one.
The well-known one. My particular favourite as well.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you want a book with twists and turns.
More twists than a corkscrew.
Grab that book. It's definitely worth a read.
Yeah, absolutely.
As always, we link all the recommendations and places mentioned by our guest, and Ben mentioned really quite a few.
No, we've got pins all over the map now.
We have. So if you go to the gardens page on our website, notjustgarden.co.uk, you will find a map there with all the pins of any nurseries that are recommended, our guests' own gardens, or gardens visited and recommended. And with Ben, we get to extend our pins over to the US, to Miami, and also up to Denmark. So really happy to have those extra pins on. So check those out on the gardens page.
Cool.
And if you want to find this episode on our website with more details about Ben and also some visuals around some of the stuff that we talked about, then head over to the Chit-Chats page and click on Ben's face. You'll find all the information there.
Yeah, and that's all under podcasts.
So, Sweet Pea, what's the format?
So, for Ben's Dream Garden, we go garden boundary, shed or greenhouse, 5 ornamentals, 5 edibles, 1 statement tree, pond or pool plus 1 plant, and finally favourite seating area, drink, and 1 plant for that area.
And if you have any questions or comments about anything we've chatted about, please do get in touch. You can do that through our website, which is
notjustgarden.co.uk.
Go to the contacts page, or you can email us at
notjustagarden@outlook.com.
That's it. So, shall we get stuck into this episode?
I think we should.
This is episode 71, a good old chit-chat with Ben Newell.
Off we go!
Welcome, Ben, to a good old chit-chat.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I'm going to apologise in advance that I have got a bit of a cold, so...
have you?
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, if I sniff or cough, then apologies.
It's just giving you a sultry voice, which is what we like on the podcast. But we last saw you on Gardener's World 2025. It was a winter special, wasn't it? Episode 2.
Oh, yes. Gosh, almost 6 months ago now. That's flown by.
Time flies. And it was perfect timing for us because Sweet Pea has launched herself into the world of terrariums.
Yes.
Having now moved out of home and into an apartment. So we absolutely loved seeing your world of terrariums, and it was extraordinary the breadth of terrariums. Basically, we've established that if you see any container with clear sides, you're going to make a terrarium out of it.
That's true. Yeah, I think once you get into the hobby, you'll almost never look at the spice jar section in a supermarket the same way again.
Exactly.
But no, it's a really lovely hobby, and I think, gosh, I've been making terrariums for almost a decade now, so it's a big part of my life. I can't imagine my life without it, and it's my job as well now, which is kind of surreal to say.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, and we've read quite a bit about that on your website, Worcester Terrariums.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the name of your website? But on Gardener's World, you said that your life it changed your life when you got into horticulture at the age of 23.
Yes, very much so.
What element of horticulture did you get into at that stage? Was it straight into terrariums, or was there something else that drew you in?
No. So interestingly, they actually did cut out a large section of that, and it didn't explain how I got into horticulture. So I was actually working in a school with a 3-year-old boy. I was his one-to-one support worker, and part of his daily routine was to take the compost to the compost bin, the fruit peels to the compost bin, and he absolutely hated it. But I became very interested in the composting process, and I hyperfixated on researching composting, and then discovered vegetable gardening. And right next to the school I was working at was an allotment site. So I put my name down, got myself a 16th of an acre plot in like
how quickly
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing.
And and I know, and some people wait many years, but I was lucky. It was 2 weeks, and the plot was beautiful. It was quite weedy, but the soil was great. And from there, I just became obsessed with horticulture and growing plants and vegetables and anything I could get my hands on. But I didn't really realize the impact it would have on my life. I often think, it was quite a flippant decision really to take on that allotment. And I often think, gosh, what would have happened had I not taken that allotment on? I probably wouldn't be sat here talking to you guys today.
No.
It's a sliding doors moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that in East London?
No, so I've lived in London for 3 years, and we're actually moving out soon. This was in Worcester, so I lived in Worcester until I was 31.
I see. So you're in Worcester, you found yourself an allotment very, very quickly, and you were growing your veg. Did you then consider getting qualifications in horticulture? Is that the route you went down?
Funny story. Yes, I did consider it, and I did start doing an RHS qualification, but I never finished it. And I am not very I love to learn. It's a very big, I love to get my head stuck into stuff. But at that point in my life, sort of formal education wasn't really clicking with me. So I did actually start an RHS course. I can't remember which one it was, but unfortunately I didn't complete it. But that was
that
the
distance learning, sort of an online course?
Yes, I believe so. This was over 10 years ago now.
It's all a blur.
Yeah, pretty much. But at that point in my life, it wasn't like a very good period of time for me. But things did really start to turn around after I took that allotment on, and the allotment really played a big role in that.
So then how did you progress from growing your veggies in your allotment to terrariums?
Yeah, horticulture has lots of transferable skills, but I think I was just trying my hand at everything. So I became fascinated with bonsai and spent a long time researching and studying with some people quite high up in the bonsai field. And then I got really into house plants and growing succulents and growing herbs, and terrarium building was, I don't know, it didn't immediately hook me in, but I did find the whole concept of a terrarium fascinating. But a lot of my early attempts failed, and I know now that the reason why is because a lot of the information online wasn't very good. It was very generic. But I kept making terrariums. So I remember discovering it, making a few, and then having a period away from it. And then I think around about 2016 or something, I don't know how it sort of came back into my life. And then from that point onwards, it never really left.
So you said on Gardener's World that your first terrarium lasted 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I think it was an IKEA jar which had some peperomias and phottonias, and then some, I always forget the Latin name, but the mind your own business plant that grows on walls and in alleyways.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
It's such a good name, mind your own business.
It is, yeah. And so that went in there. It didn't last very long. And then I remember, almost not quite giving up, because it sat there for a while, but it just didn't look very healthy. And I think that's a lot of people's first experience with a terrarium is exactly that. And I suppose when I started making videos, I wanted to change that for people, because I learned that actually if you do follow a few steps, you can really avoid that. And just by choosing the right plants too.
The right plants.
Absolutely.
And I think that some of the things you mentioned were, what a mistake made is overwatering your terrarium.
Yeah.
Having it in direct sunlight.
Yeah, and I think there's it's really dependent on what kind of plants you use. So generally speaking, yes, adding too much water into a terrarium is a mistake, because there are no drainage holes. But I've been using some plants recently, which are very boggy plants. So it's impossible to overwater these plants. They can grow. Cool. Yeah, they're really, really cool. They can grow terrestrially. They can grow immersed, so they can have wet feet, or they can grow completely underwater as aquarium plants.
Wow.
And
how interesting.
Yeah, these plants are amazing. They're so much fun and they look beautiful. And I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with those. But yes, as a general rule, most people don't make terrariums with those plants. So you don't want to overwater a terrarium. That's for sure.
I think that would be my biggest downfall, is overwatering, because like you say, there's nowhere for the water to go, and I can just see mine sitting in it.
Yeah.
I mean, less is more. And I think if you kind of want to keep the soil at an optimum level of moisture, and the way I would describe that would be if you take a sponge and you dip it into water and then you pull it out and then you squeeze all the water out, you're left with a damp sponge that's perfect to wipe a dusty surface or something. So that level of moisture in the sponge is pretty much what you want in your terrarium as like a general rule, but there are sort of variations on that.
So what happens if you do overwater? How do you then extract water from the soil?
I'm not sure you can.
So you can
blot it up.
You can blot it. You can get the turkey baster out, or you can hold everything in place and tip.
Right.
Ooh.
The key is not to overwater in the first place. But
of course.
we've all been there, and yes, you can just push some kitchen paper in. It depends on the size of the opening of the terrarium. So if you have a wide open top, it's very easy to take the water out. However, if you have a small opening, it can be a bit more challenging.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Because when I started my terrariums, so I've got two of them here actually, and the first mistake that I made with the first terrarium, which is kind of quite a cylindric one, is that I put a way too big a plant in it. But it's looking very interesting. I cannot remember the name, but it's got kind of like a spotty leaf and then a kind of burgundy back to it.
Yeah, it almost looks
leaf
like
on that side.
One of those miniature calatheas.
Yes, calathea. There we go. Yeah. That's the one. Absolutely. And then there's a tiny peperomia in the bottom.
Yeah.
Just spreading across. Anyways, so I kind of realised too big a plant for too small a terrarium in that one.
Yeah.
And then my uncle gifted me, one of those teapots where you put the tea leaves in the top and it's entirely made out of glass. And I don't drink tea. And so I was looking at this teapot and Mum went, well, I mean, make it into a terrarium if you want to. And I was like, ha, yes.
What plant have you got that with you?
Yes, it's called.
Oh, very nice.
And so I put the peperomia in it, and it was teeny tiny at the beginning, and now it's just coming out the spout, so it looks like you're pouring peperomia onto everything.
Peperomia tea. I think the fun aspect, I mean, you probably shouldn't drink peperomia tea. I don't know if it's...
No. We're not advocating
that. No one is.
But yeah, I think it's fun. Like, I remember one of the first terrariums I made as like a commission. So when I started Worcester Terrariums, I was working as a postman, and it was like a side business where I was selling terrariums in 2019. And one of the first terrariums I made, someone brought me a teapot, and I put a load of Fittonia in there. To be honest, looking back, it's probably pretty horrendous terrarium that I charged someone £10 to make. But yeah, it just sort of came back into my mind when you showed me that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, a bit triggering, was it, that one?
Bit triggering.
I should probably apologise to that person, but they seem happy with it at the time.
Yes.
But you know, that was very, very early days of Worcester Terrariums.
Yeah.
Almost 7 years ago now.
So you said you were a postman. So where did that fit in around you working with the 3-year-old and the food peels?
So I left my job at the school in 2017, and I went to be a gardener. And
all right.
Yep, I didn't really enjoy being a gardener.
Why was that?
Well, I guess this is a funny story. So basically, I actually have a bit of a frog phobia, and it's which is quite funny because for a man who's phobic of frogs, I actually have some pet frogs.
Yes, I saw that.
But there's a clear distinction between the tiny glass frogs and
the gummy
dart
bear
frogs.
one.
Yes, there's exactly that. There's a big distinction between that and like a British garden frog.
Yeah,
and
huge.
I have that. I go into that fight or flight mode, and I really
ran.
like. Yeah. So if you were to bring a frog into the room, you'd see a very tall man move very quickly. But basically, when I started working as a gardener, it was in Colwall, so near Malvern, and it was the shadiest, dampest woodland garden, and there were 12 acres of it and a natural swimming pool, and I did not go a single day without seeing a frog. And I was a very bad gardener. I remember one of my jobs was to empty the filter for the swimming pool, and I just wouldn't do it. I would just say that I'd done it. Because when you open that filter, there are frogs in there, like without a doubt. So I love gardening. It's a big part of my life. And it's quite funny because we were actually buying a house in Stroud, and it's got a lovely garden. And when we went there a couple of weeks ago, and I said I didn't want to just blurt out that I have a frog phobia. But I said to the owner, I was like, "Oh, do you get much wildlife in your garden?" And he was like, "Yeah, we do. I've had a deer in here. We've had foxes, you know." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." He said, "But the problem is we have fences either side and at the back, so you don't get any of the passing amphibians or hedgehogs." And I was like quietly thinking, "Yes,
score.
That's great. That's great news." And I know how important frogs are. I know how wonderful they are to ecosystems, but they can be wonderful in everyone else's garden except for
not
mine.
Yours. Okay, fair enough. Where does that phobia come from? Do you know?
Well, I'm not sure, but my sister seems to think that when I was young, I wanted a pet frog. And then I don't remember, but she remembers that there was an antagonist on a cartoon that was a frog. And then ever since then, apparently, I was scared of frogs, but I don't remember any of that.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, what a shame.
I mean, I must admit, I'm better now than I used to be. I used to be like, just keep them away from me. Whereas if I know one is there, I can work in the garden a bit. But like, I don't want to, I would certainly want to pick one up.
No. Okay. So all frogs avoid your garden in Stroud.
Yes,
is what we're asking. But you've got frog-proof fences, so you're all right.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're right.
So you were being a sort of fair to middling gardener. You could do everything apart from change filters in shady areas. And how long were you at that garden for?
About when did I start? May. I left November, so like 3 to 4 months or something. And then I went to be a landscaper. And the problem with this sort of work, it's hard work, and like I love getting stuck in, but you know, we're being paid £7.50 an hour at that time. I was working 12-hour days and only being paid for 8.5 or even 8 of those when you include the travel. So you know, I mean, this was back in 2017. It was the minimum wage back then.
Oh my gosh, was it?
Yeah, I mean, my first job, I was paid £4 an hour when I was 16.
That should be illegal.
Yeah, but back then it was normal. I'm showing my age here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I worked as a landscaper for a few months, but then I got a Saturday job at Royal Mail, and I really enjoyed being a postman. And then within a month, they'd given me a 25-hour contract, and yeah, I very swiftly left the landscaping and the gardening. But like, you know what, like gardening is a really big part of my life, and I like to, you know, I garden every day. But yeah, as a profession, it's it's not that I don't want to be a gardener; it's that I'm not a very good gardener because of my frog phobia. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
you went from being a post. How did you then transition from being a postman to?
So
Where did you transition to from there?
Well, I worked as a postman for 5 years, and then it was around 2019. So I started at Royal Mail in January 2018, and in September 2019, I started my side business where I was selling terrariums. So in my hometown of Worcester, I would advertise on Facebook, on Instagram, and I would essentially, make and sell terrariums. I didn't leave Royal Mail until March 2023. So just over 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing it for 2019, 23. You're looking at like 4 years or something of just like using it as a side business. I didn't make
Side
any
hustle.
money for like the first few years.
Mm.
It's a tricky space. But then when I went into content creation, that's when things started to sort of turn for me. And
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of content creation was that?
So back in 2019, I was posting pictures on Instagram, back when Instagram was a photo sharing platform. But then around 2020, 2021, I got onto like TikTok, started making short videos. But then I also started a YouTube channel. And yeah, I mean, I did quite well on Instagram, but YouTube really took me a long time before I started to make any like real money on there. But the thing that enabled me to leave my job was I actually got a book deal in 2023.
Oh, wow.
So that was I was getting like brand deals with quite big names. Like I did some work with Disney and Marvel, but I wasn't earning enough money to say, okay, I can leave my job. But it was when I got my book deal that I was able to leave my job.
So that was Hello Tiny World? Was that your
Yes,
first
that's
book?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first book. Yeah.
And so how did that book deal come about?
Yeah.
You know, I went to the Garden Media Guild Awards, so I was nominated for an award along with my friend, and we went to the Garden Media Guild award ceremony. And at that ceremony, I met someone from the DK team who I had a good conversation with. And then I had a literary agent at the time, so we basically put together a proposal. And then, to cut a very long, boring story short, they agreed to do the book. So it was, I'm very proud of what we did, and I love the DK team. I've made good friends with them, and actually the other two books I've written are also both published with DK.
Well, so you've got Magical Miniature Worlds, that's a children's book.
Yes, that's a children's book. It's essentially sort of like a how to make a terrarium for kids,
lovely.
but they're like themed terrariums. So you have like jungle in a jar, there's like a world of toys, and there's even an aquarium project in there. So
gorgeous.
which is nice. So yeah, that was a really fun book to write.
Yeah.
And then your third book is Tiny, which is coming out later this year.
Yes, so it's called Tiny, and it's the story of 25 fascinating animals from around the world, some of which I have as my pets, but others are just animals with interesting stories. So there's a rain frog from Mozambique, there are morning geckos from Asia, there are jumping spiders from Florida, and there's even earthworms, which you will find in your garden. But they all have fascinating stories, and the thing that really... You know, the earthworm, for example, I didn't know that Charles Darwin had dedicated the last 10 years of his life to studying earthworms. And his final book that he released was the study of worms, which was the sort of culmination of the last 10 years of his life. It was just such a fun... I mean, it was a lot of work, but I really enjoyed researching the animals because, you know, you could write there could have been 100 animals in this book, so whittling it down to just 25
very hard.
Was quite a task, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm very excited for this book to come out.
And what audience is that aimed at?
It's actually published with DK Kids, so it is primarily at a younger audience. However, I think that actually anyone could pick up and enjoy the book because it is accessible. Like, there's not like loads of jargon in there, but you know, it's also like it's beautifully shot. It was the same photographer who did my first book, so yeah, there's lots of enjoyable aspects for people of all ages, I think.
Okay. And how did you whittle down from hundreds to 25?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't... I had a list, and I knew roughly about 17 or 18 animals that I absolutely wanted to write about. But then, actually, one of the most fun aspects was researching other animals and basically deciding on which ones. I don't really know, to be honest. Like, for example, it was meant to be 20 animals, but then I thought it would be really nice to include a home biome. So the book is split into biomes. You have like rainforest, you have marine, you have freshwater, grasslands, and desert. But the marine section wasn't meant to be in the book, but it was when I started to research some marine projects that I have coming up that I realized just how fascinating the animals in the marine biome are.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too tricky to like whittle it down, but there are stories about many fascinating animals in the world, and we could probably write about 30 books like
well, I was
this.
just going to say it allows you for Tiny 2,
Part
Tiny
2.
3.
Yeah. I've kind of like made a bit of a pledge to just focus on video stuff over the next year or so, just because I was spreading myself very thin, I think.
Yeah,
I understand that. Yeah,
I can understand. So you mentioned about the work you did with Marvel and Disney and Paramount. What work were you doing there?
Essentially, I was creating like promotional videos for the movies that they have coming out. So the first movie was Ant-Man, the second Ant-Man. I'm not like, I say this quietly, I'm not like a huge Marvel fan, but
Don't say that to Sweet Pea.
You can't say that.
But
we have a huge Marvel fan sitting.
Oh, really? the videos I was making, or the videos I make, lend themselves quite nicely to like miniature worlds, So Ant-Man was a really nice fit.
Perfect.
Exactly. And then with Paramount, we actually made a video for the Castaways, which was a series that came out in 2024. No, I think it came out Boxing Day 23.
Is
but
that
I
a
released a
reality
video.
program?
No, it was.
No, that's your murder mystery book, isn't it?
It's yes.
Oh, the film Castaways.
The book
by,
you read.
She's a British author from Cornwall.
Yes, that's it.
I love her books. I've read loads of books and I can't think of her name.
I can't think of her name.
If you afterwards, and I'll put it in the intro.
So it was the series that was made about that book, and they get stranded on a desert island. I obviously don't give away too much in the video.
Great
but
story.
It was we basically created a terrarium that depicted what happened, and my friend 3D printed some models and painted them, so they really looked like the characters. We had a plane that had crashed, and then we even like lit a small fire made out of matches in the terrarium to depict a campfire.
Amazing.
And then...
But how was that used in the series? Was that for the credits?
Oh, no, it wasn't in the actual series. So it's part of their promotional marketing campaign.
Yeah.
So they essentially work with creators to promote the series or the movie.
Right.
So and then I actually did a video for the Predator movie, which came out, I think it came out in January. It was the latest Predator movie. So essentially I created 3 different terrariums to represent the 3 different biomes on this planet in the movie.
I saw that. You did one which was a complete desert with a skeleton in it.
That's right,
yes,
that was a real bleached snake skeleton.
I was wondering where you got that from. I was thinking, where are you getting these skeletons?
I found it on Etsy, and it was a late edition. But the reason why I put a snake skeleton in there is because there was a clip in the trailer where it pans across this like desert land, and you can see this like serpent skeleton.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, I couldn't spend too much time on it in the video, but like a diehard fan would be like, oh yeah, look, he's even got a snake skeleton in there. So yeah.
Wow, it must be so fun getting your creative juices going with things like that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have to remind, it is work, and I have to remind myself to enjoy things a bit more, because I think I'm making videos for a living. It's a good thing to do. A lot of people would love to do this. So sometimes absolutely. I think it's important to just like enjoy things a bit more and not be so stressed about life. But we're all human, so
we are all human, and life does get stressful, doesn't it? And also when something becomes work, you do sort of see it in a slightly different light, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think if there's one way to sort of kill an interest in something, is to try and commodify it. And,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, of course.
But thankfully I haven't lost my interest in terrarium building, and long may that continue.
Is that your number one passion?
You know what, I would actually say like the wider world of horticulture is a passion for me. I also love cooking, I love football, I love playing guitar, I love music.
So do I.
Yeah, and I feel like these things, as I get older, I realize like, these are the things that make life enjoyable. So
Yeah.
I try and do as much of them as possible, spend time with my family, and all the things that when you're young, like, you don't really realize it, right? But now I know, what makes life fun, and it's like getting to play guitar in the mornings, or like reading my book at night. And it sounds really boring to, like, if when I was 20,
Not
if someone
to
was saying
us.
this, I'd be like, Ben, you're so boring. But actually, like, these are the things that make life fun. So
Yeah.
Well, Sweet Pea's 18, and I
Yeah.
don't think she could relate to you more. Sweet Pea loves to play
really?
guitar in the morning and read her book.
And read my book in the
Aw.
evening. I'm not going to raves, partying all night.
Yeah, and
Not into that.
I kind of like forced myself to do that sort of stuff when I was younger because my friends did it, but I didn't
Oh,
enjoy
interesting.
it.
No.
And like, nothing against people who want to do that,
No,
but
exactly.
I do think like
It's
you need,
horses for courses, isn't it?
yeah, exactly, yeah, and knowing what you enjoy.
This is what I say to Sweet Pea: is don't feel, oh, I should like that because everyone else likes that, and does that make me different or weird or old beyond my years if I don't want to go to a nightclub and I'd rather be in bed at 9 o'clock reading my book? Everyone's got the thing that keeps them afloat, makes them tick, and it's live and let live. Do what works for you. And
absolutely right. I couldn't agree more.
I completely agree.
so your love for animals, you have your own frogs. What other animals do you have?
So I have quite a few animals. A lot of like my brand is around building like accurate biomes for like small animals. So
cool.
I have a pair of dwarf Indian mudskippers who live in like a tidal mangrove paludarium, which is basically a mix between like an aquarium and a terrarium. So they're really interesting.
Wow.
And then I have like morning geckos. I don't know if you've heard about morning geckos, but they're near all female species who reproduce parthenogenically. Any males in the morning gecko world are useless and play no role in reproduction. If you put one morning gecko on an island, in 3 years you would have a booming population.
Incredible. So
That's
the
pretty cool.
female of the species have figured it out.
Why can't we do that?
Exactly, yeah. And then we have, what else do we have? I'll have to have a look around. So I've got my glass frogs who live in a big IKEA cabinet, which I converted to a terrarium. I have lots of shrimps for my aquariums. I have some dart frogs and jumping spider. Jumping spider has been quite popular online. I have like some small gecko species. They're like chameleon geckos. But I mean, that's probably. I also have a cat, Momo,
who you keep well away from all those other animals.
Do you know what?
Presumably.
He could not be more disinterested. I mean, he's out of reach. Like, he can't reach them, but he's never caused any problems with any animals that I have, which is good.
Not interested.
Has he caused any problems with? Aren't cats meant to sort of tap glasses off the edge of desks?
Oh yeah, he does that.
So your terrariums are getting scooted off the shelf?
He went an entire year without breaking a single terrarium, and then a couple of weeks ago he broke 2 in one day, like one of which I really liked. But you know what? I don't actually have that many terrariums anymore. I moved house quite a few times and sort of scaled back my collection. I do have some, obviously, but just not like I had so many like in 2022, 23, because I was making a lot of Instagram and TikTok content. So I was just making terrarium after terrarium after terrarium.
Right.
Whereas now I've scaled my sort of output on those platforms back quite a lot because I focus on YouTube now.
Oh, I see. So that's your main income is through YouTube?
Yes, it is like a big portion of my income, but I also have like the literary stuff. I have the short form brand deals. I work with a company, an aquarium plant company.
Right.
What else? And I do sort of like public appearances. Well, I did public appearances. I've sort of stepped back from that.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I say I've stepped back from it. I did a talk last night in my hometown where I was basically interviewed on stage, and it was talking about YouTube and how people can sort of like get into that. And I realized like I do actually have a relatively diverse sort of income stream for the business, which a lot of creators don't have.
That's good.
A lot of creators tend to just either get brand deals or they exclusively have YouTube ad revenue. So yeah, I would encourage anyone who is getting into content creation to try and diversify your income streams.
So you mentioned earlier that you're going to step away from the literary side and you're going to focus more on the video,
Content.
the video
Yeah,
content.
so I'm. It's funny. I have finished the book. Obviously, there's the promotional sort of campaign that's going to go ahead. But in terms of like writing another book, I think I'm gonna maybe take a bit of time away from it, just because for the past 3 years I've written a book each year. So, and it takes a lot of effort, and it's not that I don't want to. It's more I'm trying to grow a YouTube platform, and anything that's taking away from that is like not great. So as much as I would love to write another book, I operate on my own. I don't have anyone who works with me, not yet anyway. So yeah, I think really for me it's just about focusing on making YouTube videos. It's hard though, because like I say this, but you know, the first 5 months of this year, that's definitely not been the case. I've been doing lots of different things, but now I'm in a position where I can sort of see into the future a bit, and I can see that I'm just going to be hyper focused on what I need to be doing.
Yeah, sounds good. And you mentioned you've moved house quite a bit, or I mean, on Gardener's World, you mentioned it. You've moved 4 times in 4 years, and just then you said also you've moved quite a lot.
Yep.
Is that because you just get itchy feet with where you are and you want to move on elsewhere?
No.
Or
It's the London rental market, and then with the Renters' Right Act coming in, a lot of landlords sold their houses. So we were in a position where, like, I've lived in London. So I said 4 times in 4 years. It's actually it's 5 times in 5 years. And then when we move to Stroud, it'll be 6 times in 6 years.
Right.
So when we move to Stroud, we're actually buying somewhere. So I'm not going to move for like 10 years or something.
Yeah, you're staying put.
Yeah, for sure.
Concrete into the ground.
Yeah, I am not moving. So yeah, but the reason why is because when we moved to London, I moved to Bethnal Green with my girlfriend. She already lived there. And London rent is very expensive. Like, there's no beating around that. It was a lot of money to live in a relatively small flat, and then they tried to hike our rent up by like £1,000. So, which is not allowed now with the new Renters' Right Act. But at that time, I was just like, "There's no way I'm paying an extra £1,000 a month. So let's move house."
Mad.
So we moved house into a smaller flat, and then I got a studio, which was lovely because I had this sort of nice studio in London, but also that cost money. But what was nice was I got to sort of be at this creative studio with lots of other people. There was about 75 studios there.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, that was a really nice thing. But then my landlord sold the house. So we were in a position where I was like, do we move to a 2-bed and I work from home again, or do we keep the studio and move to another 1-bed? And a really nice flat came up in East London. So yeah, we moved here, and I essentially moved from the studio and work from home now. So yeah, I'm really tired of moving house.
I can imagine. But Stroud Stroud's quite far from Worcester, isn't it? And it's far from East London.
Stroud's about an hour from Worcester. So my mum still lives in Worcester. All my friends live in Worcester, and you can get from Stroud to London very quickly on the train, maybe like an hour and 15 or something.
So why did you choose Stroud? Because of that juxtaposition?
No. So Grace, my fiance, her sister lives in Stroud, and Grace's parents are also buying a house in Stroud. So it just makes sense that we live there too.
Oh, that'll be nice to have family nearby.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to move there.
So, Ben, for your dream garden, what would be the garden boundary, if you want one at all, so surrounding your dream garden?
Actually, I'm moving into a property which has a very big garden. So, I'm very excited to put my imprint on this. There's a copper beech hedge on the one side, which I'm going to keep in. And then I saw at Bluebell Arboretum, they used dawn redwoods, which grow very fast. They're like big, quite very large conifer trees.
Yeah.
But what they had done, that they planted a lot of them very close together, and they just clipped them back like you would with topiary. So
quite stunted growth then.
Exactly. So that's always appealed to me. But I also love, have you heard of daisugi?
No, what's that?
So Cryptomera japonica trees are they're sort of coppiced in Japan. So they grow them to like maybe 5 or 6 years old, and then they cut them right back, and then they train 2 branches out horizontally, and then they let it grows very quickly. So then the vertical growth grows up, and it creates this almost like catapult shaped tree, which you then coppice. So I'm not sure if I put it in the boundary, but I certainly want to put some into our garden.
So is
what is that
daisuji
called?
the act of doing that, or is it a type
I
of tree?
believe so. I think Sugi is the Cryptomera japonica tree, I believe.
Right,
But
okay.
I mean, double check this because this is very old. I read this a long time ago.
Have you seen it firsthand?
No, but Jake Hobson, the owner of Niwaki, I see pictures of his garden. He has some
He has
Sugi in
those.
his, and I love his garden. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have to check that out. Something I've never heard of.
No, so
Very
that's
interesting.
that's a Japanese technique of
Yeah,
cutting.
essentially coppicing. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I love that.
With your dream garden,
Mm-hmm.
is that garden in Stroud? Are you totally detached? You've got a space around you?
We are semi-detached, and it's quite. I think it's the garden is about 8 to 9 meters wide, and then I think roughly about 30 meters long. So it's quite big.
Lovely big
That's
garden.
lovely.
Yeah, and
impressive.
it's on a slope, but
Oh,
that's the
right.
only downside. Yeah.
Sloping away from the house?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's nice, though.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Do you then back onto open countryside? Are you on the periphery of the town?
So yeah, we're actually slightly outside of Stroud, and it does back onto a small sort of wooded area, but then after that there's like a road, but it's very quiet.
Yeah,
the person who
lovely.
lived in this house before us actually does a lot of meditation in the garden, and he was
Oh,
saying
right. It must be
it's
really
very
quiet.
quiet. Don't worry.
Yeah, it needs to be quiet for meditation.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Would your dream garden be there in Stroud? Is there somewhere else in the world you'd rather be?
I love England. I love our climate. People always complain about the British climate, but I love the
Would you love
seasons.
to
They
complain?
all have their charm. My dream garden would be in the UK, probably somewhere, south of Worcester. And I think Stroud is a really nice town. It's got a lot going for it. So yeah, I mean, Stroud would be a dream for me. But then also I have family in Singapore. Singapore is a beautiful country. You grow tropical plants in your garden. And we spent some time in Miami in January, and I actually got to see DocBlock's garden. So DocBlock is a very quite famous anthurium grower. It's like a type of house plant. And I went with a friend of mine, Jacob, who owns Grow Tropicals, the houseplant company.
Yeah.
So we went.
Did you do the show garden at Morven last year?
Yes, that's right. So he essentially went to see DocBlock, and I went with him, and he's got the most incredible garden. You can see it on YouTube. Honestly, check out DocBlock's garden on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely will be
unbelievable. Yeah.
Despite Miami, despite Singapore, you would stay put in the UK. Yeah, you don't want to be by the sea. Stroud is really your ideal dream location.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean that might change in the future, but I would say Stroud.
Yeah, right now
brilliant.
it is.
Cotswold.
Very cool. So I put down Copper Beech hedges and dawn redwood cut back into a kind of nice topiary along the boundaries. Do you want any other boundaries?
Do you know what? I would actually probably swap the dawn redwood out and just go with box. I really like box.
Okay.
I like box and yew. I wouldn't have formal topiary, but I would have like nice cloud prune hedges and nice organic shapes.
Oh, lovely. Well then, would you like a shed or a greenhouse if you had to choose?
I saw the questions you sent over. I didn't actually realize I had to choose, so I don't know. I like to be organized, so a shed is appealing to me. But then I also like those nice Victorian greenhouses with the brick bottoms. So do you know what? I would choose a shed. Just for the organizational aspect.
Yeah.
So you like being organized. So this means your shed's going to be with all the tools neatly hung up and have their own place.
My girlfriend would be laughing so much right now. I like to be organized, but I am probably a bit chaotic, and I'm the sort of person who needs things to be tidy, but is also a messy person. So
God, I agree with that. I can be so specific about keeping things clean. Like when me and Mum went to my apartment at uni, it is spotless. I don't like to see a single bit of dust. But then I come home,
bring her back home. All hell breaks loose.
It's
your
awful,
bedroom,
frankly.
The kitchen, the bathroom. Have you seen the state of the bathroom?
There's no logic to my cleanliness in brackets.
I mean, to be honest, I'm always clean, but when I go see my mum just does everything. She's always been like that. It's like when I go into her space and I don't know, eat dinner, she just washes up. So
Right.
whereas like at home, obviously we wash up.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I'm at my mum's, it's sort of like her domain. But yeah, it does mean that I'm a little messier than I am when I'm at home.
I see.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
perhaps what's
why.
happening here.
Yeah.
So your shed is, what sort of size are we talking?
And what style?
Ooh, I suppose I would like a shed with, you see those sheds with the big windows in the front, so it lets a lot of light in. I mean, we're going to have like a lawnmower in there, so it's going to have to be like of a decent size. I'd like to be able to use it as like a retreat for when it rains.
Okay.
So it would
some
have
seating
to be like,
in there.
yes, absolutely. Pot up stuff, like a potting shed. But then I'd also have my tools nice and organized on the back wall.
Sounds good.
How often are you going to be spending time in the shed? Is this going to be your retreat?
The man den, whatever you call them.
Interestingly, where we're moving to, I work from home. So the selling point for this house was that it had a big studio at the bottom of the garden.
Oh, lovely.
Perfect.
That's where I'm basically turning that into a filming studio. It's going to be the biggest studio I've ever had. And I'm very, very excited about it. It's got heating, it's got electric. It's like a dream studio.
Yeah,
fantastic.
And there's 2 rooms. So I will spend most of my time in there, but it will be a filming studio. It's, there will be my terrariums and whatnot, but that's where I'll do all the filming. So I probably won't spend too much time in the shed, but what I don't want to do is start potting up in my filming studio.
No,
it'll get super dirty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll spend a lot of time in the shed, I think, in spring.
Okay. And out of interest, does your garden to be your real one, not your dream one, does it already have a shed there as well? Or will you have to get one of those?
But just a small shed that I hope they take with them, because one of the first things we're going to do is build a shed.
Right, okay.
But because the garden is on a slope, I'm going to have to like level out the section for the shed,
terrace.
probably dig in. Yeah, exactly. Have like a solid foundation.
It's a bit of work. We can relate to that. We were on a very steep hill, so anything we want, any structure we want, we first have to level the ground. We have to make a terrace, flatten it. It's the amount of work that goes into that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I would like to actually, as you go down the garden, have terrace sections. So, there are flat areas, but you have to get it right really the first time, or you just end up redoing it.
Yeah.
Because I also don't mind the garden being on a slope. There are worse things. It's south facing as well, so it gets a lot of sun.
There are advantages to slopes, especially with the free draining element of it.
Yeah.
So most plants thrive on a slope, we found. But someone his garden is worth checking out is Ben Story. He's in Clapham, and he terraced the back garden. It actually slopes towards the house. So the house is sort of quite low down, and that's their dining area. And then it goes up. He did these terraces going up, and it's absolutely beautiful. He's done an incredible job. He was on garden as well.
Material.
I'm looking at his Instagram page now. Oh, I love his photography. You know whose garden I absolutely adore? Nigel Slater's.
Oh.
It's small, but it looks huge. And
lovely.
it's because they planted it, using quite small trees. They create this very enclosed space. And the way the beds are laid out, it really leads your eye down the garden. So I would check it out. It's a really beautiful garden.
Well, next question is, what would be your 5 favourite ornamental plants?
Oh gosh, you're going to test my plant knowledge now. Okay, I think I love box. So box would be in my garden. I love yew. So I would have Taxus baccata in my garden. I would, what else would I have? I've always wanted to grow a Filaria latifolia tree. So I would want that in my garden too. The sugi I was talking about, that I want to put in my garden.
The sugi.
Yes, the Cryptomera japonica. It's so funny. I as I'm saying this, I realise I'm just listing plants from Jake Hobson's garden.
Really?
Yeah. But this, he really had a really big impact on me, and I do love the way these plants look.
So it's very much about foliage.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a green garden rather than lots of brash colours.
Yeah, although I must say I love foxgloves. Foxgloves are some of my favourite plants.
Gosh, it's one of my favourite plants.
Yeah, and I think they work in any kind of garden. And I would, so my final plant would be foxgloves.
Foxgloves.
Yeah, and I think that the longer you have them, they spread, and you can pot them up, and they really are the most beautiful plants. I love hollyhocks too.
Hollyhocks are gorgeous. Yes,
Hollyhocks.
another self-seeder. We have both of those in our garden. The foxgloves, though, there's something very magical, and it sort of reminds me of children's books, and there's that woodland vibe to them, and the wildness to them. They're not too
I agree.
Pristine
Anemones, Japanese anemones, I really love too. It's so funny. Like at first, when you asked me that, I was like, "Oh gosh, how am I going to nail this down?" But now I'm thinking about it. It's like to just
too
choose
many.
5.
Exactly. Well, then the next question is, what would be 5 of your favorite edible plants?
Oh, I often said that when I moved into a new house, the first thing I would do would be to plant a mulberry tree. I have the mulberry tree in my garden, and it is in a pot. Funny story. I planted a mulberry tree on my allotment a couple of it would have been 2006, maybe 12 years ago, and I kept pruning it, and then we left the allotment. So this tree wasn't huge, but when I bought it, it was pencil thin, and by the time I left the allotment, it was maybe sort of, I don't know, the thickness of a 10p coin.
Yeah,
I planted it in my garden where I lived with my ex-girlfriend, and unfortunately we broke up. But then when we split up, the thickness of this trunk was like getting quite big. But I kept cutting it back. So I'd let it grow and then I'd cut it back. So it was getting quite big. But then she wouldn't let me go and get it. So this mulberry tree has probably been ripped out and thrown away.
Oh, don't
and they take
that.
10 years to fruit. So I think I was about 8 years into growing it. And then it's funny, it's gone now. I can't get it.
It would have been worth not splitting up just for 2 more years.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Just
I
to
know,
get
right?
your mulberry fruit.
So then,
break in.
I can't. I mean, imagine that Worcester Terrariums breaks into. I'd make the front page of the Worcester News.
This is true.
Yeah, but no, I bought a mulberry tree, Morus nigra, about 2.5 years ago, and I've been growing it in a pot. So when we move, one of the first things I'll do will be to put that mulberry tree in the ground.
Where's that pot currently?
In my garden. So we actually have quite a big garden.
You have a garden there?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's funny, I dug a bed into the garden because it was just lawn. And then I brought a load of compost, brought a load of plants, and now we're moving. So, yeah.
But that's something you said on garden as well. You said, with terrariums, you can take them with you.
Yeah.
You do all this work
Absolutely.
in a garden and then you have to leave it behind.
Yeah, that's true. So 4 more edible plants. I would grow a medlar tree.
Oh, yes.
Nice choice.
Yeah. I would grow Chilean guava.
Oh, right.
So it was Queen Victoria's favourite fruit.
Well, we had Queen Victoria's... Wait, Nick Mesa told us Queen Victoria's favourite fruit. And he had it as one of his edibles. What was it, Sweet Pea, from Nick Mesa's garden? Do you know Nick Mesa? He's got...
I know Nick Mesa, yeah. So he has...
Pan-global plants.
Yes, Pan-global, that's right.
Yeah.
So my understanding... I mean, he's probably right. I'm probably wrong. But my understanding, which is verified by Country Life magazine, was that Chilean guava was Queen Victoria's favourite fruit. However... Nick will know more than me, but it's the most beautiful fruit. They look like the plants almost look a little box-like, but they have thicker, glossier leaves, and they almost look like blueberries with little crowns on them. But they taste like almost like candy-like. They are absolutely delicious.
Fantastic plants.
Sweet Pea, can you just check your notes on Nick Mesa's page, or is that in a different book?
Okay. I have what I call the notebook of everybody's dream gardens, and as you can see, I'm on the last page.
I see, yeah.
So, got him. Nick Mesa, Pan-global plants. He wanted a bamboo hedge. A whale's tongue agave. Oh, that's cool.
Ooh.
Chilean guava, the myrtle.
Oh, the myrtle.
Yeah, he put that as his first edible plant.
Okay, so myrtle is another name for Chilean
Strawberry
guava,
myrtle, I think, is a common name.
Yeah.
Strawberry myrtle.
So we're both right. We're both right.
Got it. Both you gone for the same one.
Very cool.
Glad we established that.
Yes, yeah. No, me too. How many more do I have? I've got 2 more.
2 more.
I would grow honeyberries.
Oh, lovely choice.
Yeah, I love honeyberries, and way easier to grow than blueberries. This final one. Okay, what am I choosing? Do you know what? I would have not just. Do I have to pick one plant? Can I not just say like herb garden? Because one of my dreams is to walk out of the kitchen doors and then to just have a mature sort of like herb garden with then, you know, in the warmer months I can grow things like coriander and
Yeah. That would be the
chervil.
dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you
just
can
a
have that.
really yes, a herb garden. Yeah.
Are you a big cook?
Yes, I would say cooking is one of my favorite things to do, particularly Indian food.
Oh,
Right.
really? When did that
Yeah.
kind of come about?
So I went to India. I've been 3 times, but the first time I went was in 2011.
That's pretty cool.
And I fell in love with everything about India. I love reading literature about India. I love Indian music, and I love Indian food. But South Indian food, that's my favorite thing, South Indian food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just fell in love with India when I went 2011, and that was pre-smartphone world. So we had to do everything the old-fashioned way. And then I went again in 2016, and smartphones had, you know, obviously sort of come about, and everything was done on the phone. Went back in 2019, and gosh, you know, everything was just done on the mobile phone. And I'm so pleased that I got to go in 2011 because, it was a real experience. And I really fell in love with India when I went.
Yeah. Could you live there? Or just somewhere you love to visit?
I think India is, I could live in India, you know, I absolutely could.
Really?
I think, I would love to live in Mumbai. I think Mumbai is one of my favorite cities in the world.
Wow.
I would love to live in Kerala. I've visited a lot of India. There's also the north, which is sort of more temperate. Darjeeling, we went to Darjeeling, which was very nice. So I absolutely could live in India. It's a beautiful place with wonderful people.
Have you got any favorite dish from southern India that you really, really like?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think sambar is eaten with everything. So sambar is like a vegetable curry. I mean, even the word curry is like a British thing. I think the word curry comes from the word curry, which means gravy. But sambar, it's like a vegetable dish which is cooked with, I believe it has coconut milk and tamarind, and it has the chili, so it's quite hot and sour. But people in South India have this with pretty much every meal. It's got lentils, often has okra, and they have something called a drumstick. I don't know the actual name of the vegetable. I know it's a drumstick. It's like quite a long, thin, green vegetable, which you bite into and it feels really hard. But what you do is you like pull the inside out with your teeth.
Oh, interesting.
And it's really delicious. And you know that if you have one in a dish, you're probably in an authentic restaurant because it's quite a difficult thing to get hold of.
I'm looking at it now. It's very interesting. It looks like a shriveled up cucumber.
Yeah. So it's called
a really big bean.
It's from the moringa tree. It has an earthy flavor and high nutritional value. Yeah, and it says it's a staple in sambar. Sambar is a wonderful dish. And then I'm a big seafood fan, so sort of fish curries are my favorite things.
Oh, yummy!
It's like the use of tamarind and coconut and curry leaves and mustard. It's all regional ingredients. I think Indian food is so diverse. In the UK, we have this idea of it just being like a curry, and you know, it could not be more wrong. You know, there's like the different kinds of breads and lentil based sort of breads and poppadoms and papads and biryani, and like it's just got the most wonderful food culture.
Well then, what would be your one statement tree for your dream garden?
You know, I said the mulberry, but mulberries are very messy.
Yes.
So my one statement tree, I think it would have to be one of the, because I've mentioned quite a few trees.
You can have another one.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to fit like a nice mature English oak in my garden, but I love an English oak, Quercus robur.
You could have it in the next door neighbour's garden.
Yeah.
And comes over towards yours. That way they can put up with it and you get the prettiness of it.
I really like field maple, so Acer campestre. I think that's a really lovely tree.
They are gorgeous.
I'm going to rail off a few and then nail it down. So English oak, Acer campestre. I love a silver birch as well.
Yeah.
I think
you
they're
need a
really
group of silver birches, though,
You
don't you?
do.
You need kind of like a mini forest.
But this is your dream garden, Ben, so you can have it being bigger than your future garden in Stroud. So you could
so
have a
funny.
big tree in there.
Oh, I like the sequoia trees as well. Oh no, actually, all right, forget everything I said. I know what tree it would be. My favorite tree in the world is Cedrus brevifolia, which is the cypress cedar. So, yeah, and you don't see them very often. They have the short needles. Like there are only 4 true cedars in the world, and I think Cedrus brevifolia is the nicest of the 4. So it would be Cedrus brevifolia, 100%.
Would you like a pond or a pool, and what plant would you have in that area?
A pond or a pool? I would
not a pond.
Frogs,
all the frogs
or swimming.
The funny thing is, I would actually love a pond, and I'm not much of a swimmer, to be honest. So even despite having a phobia of frogs, I would go with a pond.
Yeah,
and
you could have an aquarium instead, I suppose.
What plant would I have? Do you know what I really love? I love taxodium, the cypress trees. That grow near water's edges, or dawn redwoods. They like to grow in wet areas, so I'd probably go
cypress.
with either swamp cypress or the metasequoia. But I think I'd probably go with the dawn redwood because they're actually quite similar looking, but I like how fast the dawn redwood grows, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so your pond is going to be what sort of size?
Big, nice big pond.
Raised or sunken?
Sunken.
Could it be a lake? Would you be happy with a lake, or you?
I would be happy with the lake. I do some work with a Danish aquarium plant company, and they have the most incredible nursery full of aquarium plants. But what they also have is they bought it from a guy who essentially lives on there, but he sold them the land, and he still lives there. And he must be in his 80s now.
This is in Denmark, is it?
In Denmark, yeah, in Aarhus. So the aquatic nursery is Tropica Aquarium Plants, but it's in Aarhus.
Yeah.
And he has the most amazing garden, and he takes so much pride in it. And he was showing me rounds, and he has a lovely lake in his garden. But what I love about it is it's just so mature. It must be 40 or 50 years old.
Lovely.
And I'm really excited with our garden. I mean, hopefully we'll be there for 30 or 40 years. And, seeing how it looks then is something I look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, in your dream garden, we could make it somehow immediately mature. So that's how you'd like it, preferably.
So a 40-year-old lake, Sweet Pea.
40-year-old lake.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the final question to finish off your dream garden is, what would be your favourite seating area to chillax on, a drink to have, and a plant to have by your side?
Sort of seating area. I mean, I'm probably just going to be pretty boring and have like a nice sort of wooden bench of some kind next to the lake.
Yeah.
My favorite drink. I mean, funnily enough, I've actually stopped drinking alcohol in the past 8 months. I do love having a beer. Like it would have been like a beer, but I'm going to go orange
drink
juice.
Can be anything.
Yeah, we'll go
Could
orange
be a cup
juice.
of tea. Orange juice?
Oh, no. Okay, no, we're going to go oat milk flat white.
Oat milk flat white.
Mm-hmm.
That's a type of coffee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Caffeinated or decaf?
Caffeinated in the morning.
Okay.
And then decaf post 2 p.m.
Okay.
And then what was the final question?
What plant you want to have by your side?
I really fell in love with the Gertrude Jekyll rose. I remember when I worked as a gardener, the gardener called me over and said, "Smell this." And then I smelled it. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And it was the Gertrude Jekyll rose. So I'd probably choose that.
Great choice to have the scent by you. Is that a climbing rose, the Gertrude Jekyll? Or is it a shrub rose?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I'm not too sure. I don't think it's a climbing rose. I do love climbing roses. Oh, no, maybe it is. It's a shrub rose, yeah.
But that'd be lovely to have by your bench.
Great scent.
Oh, yeah. And I absolutely will be planting one of those in our garden when we move.
Yeah.
What colour is that again?
It's very pink.
Okay, very pink. Well, that's your dream garden finished. I will read back to you what you've decided to have, just in case I've got anything wrong or you want to change anything.
Okay.
So, for your garden boundary, first of all, we're going to go for it being in Stroud in the UK because we like the climate there. We're going to have a copper beech hedge and then also some box and some yew with the cloud pruning, and then possibly some daisugi Japanese cutback in some areas. Then you wanted a shed for being organised as possible, big windows. You want a lawnmower in there, a retreat for when it's raining, so lots of furniture, nice seating area, but having as a potting shed as well.
Yeah.
Then your 5 ornamentals, we had box, yew, filaria, latifolia, cryptomeria japonica, and foxgloves and hollyhocks together, with a special mention for Japanese anemones.
Yep.
Your 5 edibles were mulberry tree, medlar, chili and guava, honeyberries, and a herb garden. So putting all the herbs in there. Your 1 tree was a cypress cedar. You then wanted a pond, no frogs allowed, sunken, maybe a lake size, so 40-year-old because we want it nice and mature, and some dawn redwoods around that area. And then your seating area was a lovely wooden bench next to the lake. You wanted an oak milled flat white. And a Gertrude Jekyll rose next to you.
Perfect. That is
beautiful.
That is my dream garden for sure.
Well, hopefully we'll be seeing some of that on your YouTube channel after September.
You absolutely will. I promise you that.
Great stuff. Well, thank you so much, Ben. It's been a delight chatting with you.
And thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure. It's
And we wish you all the best for September. You've got a lot going on with your book and the house move.
Oh yes,
hope it all goes very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure it will.
That's been a good old chit chat with Ben.
Thank you for having me.